What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600-plus miles of range? What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. Is it the driver behind the wheel? No. Are you sure? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today. Golf.breck.org. Golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR live from Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. It's a football Friday, and we are thrilled to have you hanging out with us for the next 3 hours. We're counting you down. We got LSU's home opener against Tech. We've got the Saints kicking off their season Sunday against the Cardinals. Terrio is here next hour. Phil Steele in 15 minutes. A ton to do, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, we'll begin here with a little bit of news. Just in the last 20 minutes or so, the Saints have released their injury report. Kellen Moore, meeting with reporters after practice, gave the update that we all sort of feared would be the case, but was confirmed here today.
Medically, obviously, we have a few items there. The two guys that will be listed as out for our game is Trevor Penning and Chase Young, and then questionable will be Jordan Howden. So, we'll navigate that through the remainder of this next couple days. But, we'll be fine there, and we're excited about some other guys that'll have some opportunities as we go.
So it'll be Dylan Radins will be at left guard starting in place of Trevor Penning, and clearly Cam Jordan is going to get a lot more run this week than otherwise you might have thought with Chase Young out. That's really disappointing. I mean, we know the opponent that you're facing in Arizona with the Cardinals. They're a team that has gone through a rebuild of their own, as we've sort of diagrammed this week. They hired Jonathan Gannon. They won 4 games in his first year. Last year they were 8-9, and this year they're looking with a healthy, maybe reimagined Kyler Murray, a more consistent Kyler Murray, trying to push toward the playoffs. And Arizona is a 6.5-point favorite in the Dome. New Orleans, of course, will be starting Spencer Rattler for the opener here. And for the first time, though, we'll get to see Spencer Rattler with a full complement of offensive weapons. He will be without his starting left guard. We've talked about Dylan Radins. This is a guy that was a second-round pick. He's played a lot of football, started his career in Tennessee. They did not re-sign him. The Saints brought him in as a free agent, as a depth piece. It's disappointing not having Trevor Penning. And oddly, for all of the issues that the Saints had on the offensive line a season ago, with all of the injuries, Eric McCoy with the groin injury on the second play against the Eagles, obviously with Lucas Patrick and Shane Lemieux rotating there, and everything that went on. One of the constants a year ago amid so much injury and turnover was Trevor Penning, who started all 17 games a year ago for New Orleans at right tackle, and now moving into a more comfortable spot at left guard, moving him on the interior. Stands to reason he'd improve his quality of play, moving to a more natural position. But we'll have to wait for his 2025 debut. So that's the news as of right now with the New Orleans Saints. As we move throughout the show, we'll talk plenty more about the Saints and the Cardinals, giving you a full preview and prediction. But Penning, Chase Young out for Sunday's opener in the Dome. All right, it is After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. So if you're going to be watching the Tigers or the Saints this weekend, make sure you got plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light. If you're running by a retailer near you, remember the LSU Bud Light cans and aluminum bottles. If you're heading by Rouse's, wherever it may be, to grab your tailgate supplies, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light in the white cans and aluminum bottles, a hat tip to LSU's white jerseys, and then obviously the Saints cans are black with the fleur-de-lis on them. You can pick them up at great local retailers. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR and the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. Phil Steele is going to be here in about 10 minutes from right now. We will preview the biggest games of the college football weekend with Phil. We'll get his thoughts on LSU, Louisiana Tech. There was a little bit of disappointing news on Friday for LSU as a four-star offensive tackle, Emmanuel Tucker, who's been committed to LSU since the summer, flipped on Friday to Ole Miss. There is a piece of this that I don't think enough people are talking about, which I'll get to in just a quick second. But first of all, about Emmanuel Tucker. He's from New Albany, Mississippi, so it's northern Mississippi, near Oxford. He's 6'7", 285. In the composite, he's a four-star, the number 288 overall prospect in the country, the 25th best offensive tackle. He's the 13th best player in the state of Mississippi. So you're talking about a really good prospect here in Emmanuel Tucker, someone that LSU invested a lot of resources into recruiting. And it's disappointing. We say it all the time. You never want to see a prospect flip. But if they do, you'd rather them go somewhere where you're never going to see him again. You'd rather see him go to the West Coast, a different conference. Going to Ole Miss, we'll see what the future scheduling looks like in the Southeastern Conference. But there's a really good chance LSU plays Ole Miss every year in the new format as one of the three permanents. So there's a chance you could be facing Emmanuel Tucker every year. So that part of it is doubly disappointing. When you just look at LSU's class, they still have three offensive linemen committed for the 2026 class. And tops among them, of course, is Bryson Martinez from East Ascension, nearby, just down the road from LSU. And Bryson Martinez is just an absolute monster. He's a massive young guy. He's listed at 6'5.5", 290. He's probably a little bit bigger than that right now. He's right on the brink of being a top 100 overall prospect. As a matter of fact, ESPN has him as the 86th overall prospect. But on top of that, you've also got out of Mississippi, Bryson Cooley, who's out of Laurel, Mississippi, committed, and then Jalen Chapman out of New Orleans. So you've got three offensive linemen still committed for this class. And truthfully, you're going to return a ton. You're going to return Tyree Adams. You're going to return Weston Davis. Very likely, barring transfers, Eccles and DJ Chester and Paul Mabenga are all back. Braylon Moore has another season of eligibility. We'll see if he goes pro or if he returns for another season. That's an NFL decision he'll have to make. But the only player you're losing is Josh Thompson, who will be out of eligibility. So LSU should be in a more stable spot next year than they were coming into this year, just with more returning talent. And then you got some of the young guys as well. Carius Kearns, a 5-star. Solomon Thomas, who we haven't gotten to see yet because of the injury before fall camp, 5-star. And then some really talented young players as well who are growing into their bodies. Ori Williams, Ethan Callaway, Bo Bordelon, Brett Bordelon, and then this class that you have committed. So the numbers are fine, the experience is fine, the talent is fine. So you can overcome this. It's not a crushing blow in that respect, but it is someone you wanted. The thing that probably not enough people are talking about, and I want you to file this away, and I'm going to theorize here because I think this is something that's going to be more recognizable as we move through this recruiting cycle and forward. We are now in the rev share era. You know that. But the revenue share era allows for third-party NIL, which is true NIL, through the clearinghouse that we've talked about, and revenue share. What is no longer allowed is the collective to just pay student-athletes when they're on campus. However, something you've heard me mention before, high school NIL is the next frontier. Remember, most every state has approved high school NIL by law, meaning you can do brand deals with high schoolers, meaning the collective, like LSU's Bayou Traditions, which is why it hadn't disbanded, they can do deals with high schoolers. Veiled as NIL, but really pay for play, which we all know it is. Mississippi is one of the only states that does not allow high school NIL. Follow me here. So LSU has, let's just use the top committed prospect, Lamar Brown. LSU's got Lamar Brown committed. U-High, number 2 overall prospect in the country in the composite. LSU's collective has an NIL deal with Lamar Brown where they are paying him now as a high schooler. That is meant to establish and make firm your commitment because you're getting paid. And because those are brand deals that are signed or NIL deals that are signed, you have provisions in those contracts whereby if you flip and you don't end up on campus, you have to pay the money back. So when you're recruiting players from states that allow high school NIL, you bet your bottom dollar there's already financial transactions involved that bind that player to the school. Look at the 2 players that most recently decommitted. Tristan Keys and now Emmanuel Tucker, both from Mississippi. LSU, anybody can't legally do binding NIL deals with a high school athlete from Mississippi. So maybe proximity helps Ole Miss there, brown paper bags and whatnot. No judgment here, do you? But that's something to keep an eye on. Do you see more prospects from Mississippi flip because you can't do high school NIL with players from Mississippi? It'll be interesting to see if LSU replaces Emmanuel Tucker in this class. If they pursue another offensive lineman, they could always go into the portal for that as well. There's so many different options. We'll see how it all plays out. But Emmanuel Tucker flips to Ole Miss. We'll see what happens between now and signing day. But something worth keeping an eye on there is high school NIL and how that's going to affect these classes, in particular prospects from the state of Mississippi. All right, I mentioned our friends over at Rouse's helping you cover the spread all throughout football season. Rouse's.com for your football Saturdays, your football Sundays, your tailgates, your game watch parties, your home gates, whatever it is. Rouse's has got you covered with their party platters, their tailgate trays, ribs, mini muffalettas, finger sandwiches, cheese trays, fruit trays, desserts, all of it. They got it at Rouse's with 70 locations, Lake Charles to Orange Beach. So no matter who you cheer for, you want to cover your spread with your tailgate this year, Rouse's can help you do it. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. All right, y'all, it's AFR. We're live from Don Juan Cigar Bar. Looking forward to being here for a lot of our Football Fridays this football season. So come on by, hang out with us at Don Juan, grab a cocktail, grab a premium cigar, pop into the Don Juan Cigar Company next door. They got so many promos and raffles going on right now. They got a cool Arturo Fuente raffle where you can win $2,700 worth of cigars, merch, other prizes. Get on by Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. Okay, quick break. We'll come back. Our 2 segments with Phil Steele previewing the biggest games of the college football weekend. That's next here on AFR.
After further review.
All right, Tigers play at 6:30 on Saturday night. You know that. That means you've got plenty of time throughout the day on Saturday to check off the honeydews. Bypass the big box stores and go check out our friends at Clegg's Nursery. But Matt, that's a garden center. Yes, it is. And you can get flowers and plants and trees and shrubs, and you can get Johnny Naylor seeds and all the stuff that you need. A soil and mulch, bag, bulk, but they also have almost anything you would find at a hardware store. If you need floodlights and duct tape and hardware, they got you covered. Over at garbage bags, contractor bags, like they got all that stuff at Clegg's Nursery. So great outdoor decor as well. If you want to decorate your outdoor spaces, our friends at Clegg's Nursery have got you covered. They've been serving Greater Baton Rouge for 6 decades, y'all. So bypass the big box stores, support the great local retailer, buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
About that time on a Football Friday, we visit with Phil Steele. Of course, the Phil Steele College Football Magazine, Phil Steele Plus Tour on YouTube, philsteele.com. Get him on Twitter, X as well, and every Friday right here to talk about the biggest games of the college football weekend. How are you, Phil?
You know, I'm doing great, man, but probably not as good as you guys down there.
I assure you, you are not doing nearly as well as everybody in Baton Rouge. Vibes are immaculate this week, and with a relative layup with Louisiana Tech that should continue into next week when Florida comes to town. But we got a lot to talk about. Let's dive into there's a there are 4 games here on Friday. The one that you and I talked, maybe circled, that Northern Illinois at Maryland game. It's a 6:30 Central kick on the Big Ten Network. Maryland's a 16.5-point favorite. Maybe a little too rich. What's your thought?
No, I like Maryland in this one, and it goes back to the fridge, or not the fridge, excuse me, Coach Loxley.
Right.
And
Right.
Ever since Loxley got there, he's won his last 16 non-conference games. You remember, go back to 2019, they put up 79 on Howard, 63 on Syracuse. He likes to lay it out, put the points up, and he's got a freshman quarterback that he's got to get experience before Big Ten play. Malik Washington got off to a slow start last week, hitting just 3 of his first 10 passes, but then hit 24-33 down the stretch. They annihilated FIU 39-7. I just look for Maryland to put up their usual 38, 40 points in a game like this. Northern Illinois struggled offensively last week in their game, and it was against weaker competition. So anytime I got Loxley laying less than 17 points in a non-conference game, especially versus a group of 5 team, I'll lay the points in that one.
Flip it over to Saturday, and there's a pretty big intersectional matchup there with Illinois, who's ranked 11th in the country, Phil. They're on the road at Duke. Most people here are familiar with Darian Mensah from his time at Tulane, now the quarterback at Duke. Duke is a 2.5-point home dog in this game. Think the Blue Devils might be able to pull the upset?
I like Illinois here. And, go back to last year's team. Illinois beat South Carolina in the bowl to finish 10-3. But I think this year's Illinois team is probably 7 points better than last year's team. This year's team goes through middle of the road experience start to the very top. They've got almost everybody back, including Luke Altmaier at QB. And they've got a loaded defense, a lot of top-notch players there. And the NFL is going to be loaded with their guys. Then you take a look at Duke. Now, Duke has a good defense. I love what I saw at Mensa last week. But keep in mind, that game against Elon, it was 24-17 in the fourth quarter. They put on the last 3 scores to get it up there to 45. And last year, Duke did not defeat a single Power 4 team that finished with the winning record. So this is their first test against a real team. I think Illinois is a playoff contender. I think Duke's a really good team, but not a playoff contender. And since the spread's only 2.5, I'll take Illinois minus the points in this one.
Of course, staying up that key number of 3. What about the Cy-Hawk Trophy there at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa? The Hawkeyes going to the Cyclones. Iowa State a 3.5-point home favorite. Really impressive in their season-opening win, Phil, against Kansas State. Can Matt Campbell's squad keep it rolling, move to 3-0?
Yeah, and equally impressive last week, I thought, in a flat spot, taking on a South Dakota team that plays the big boys tough. And it wasn't even a game. It was 55-7. They just blew them out. And it was interesting when I talked to Coach Campbell. I said, hey, I talked to Coach Key at Georgia Tech, and he said that it really affected them, the Ireland trip, 2 weeks after they got back. And I said, boy, you're playing Iowa. And he's like, yeah, but he's doing everything he can to keep this team having not a hangover from Ireland. But I am a little concerned about the situation. The last 6 times this game's been played in Ames, Iowa's won all 6. This is one of those weird series where the road team seems to win. Iowa's got a really good defense, and they've got Mark Gronowski now at quarterback. He wasn't awesome last week, but didn't need to be. They just ran the ball for 310 yards. They've got a really good offensive line. It's a rivalry game. You're getting over a field goal in this, so I'm going to take the dog because almost all these games are close. I'm also going to like the under. The under is 17-3 the last 20 in this series. It's one of those white-knuckle games where the coaches coming in know that if you lose the turnover battle, you're going to lose the game. Punt's not a bad thing. I'm going to go with the under in this one in Iowa.
The under at 42.5. Phil Steele is with us. Of course, get to YouTube, take that Phil Steele Plus tour. Pick up Phil Steele's college football magazine at Barnes & Noble and at Books A Million and online at philsteele.com. Baylor at SMU. Of course, SMU, a playoff team a season ago. They're ranked 17th in the country, and they're a 2.5-point favorite over Dave Aranda's squad. What do we think about this one there in Dallas?
I don't really have a feel. I'm going to watch and learn about these two teams because SMU wasn't that impressive last week against East Texas A&M, only 400 yards offense, and they're at home, which is a nice plus. Baylor, the thing that surprised me last week with Baylor was it seemed like Aranda was going for it on 4th down because he didn't trust his defense, and defense is his calling card, but they gave up 307 yards on the ground. They do have a very explosive offense. Sawyer Robertson last week threw for 419 yards against Auburn with a 3-0 ratio. They got Bryson Washington, running back. I need to see more before I can tell you what these two teams are about this year. I still think Baylor is a contender in the Big 12, and I think SMU, provided they beat Miami at home, would have a great chance getting the ACC title game. A good one to watch. I'll let you pick this one, Matt.
I'm going to go with the home team in that one, especially with a really good quarterback. So I'll take Jennings and SMU to get the win at home. But, again, not a real strong feel there. I am curious more so what you think about Oklahoma State going up to Eugene to take on the Ducks. It's a massive line. It's 27.5. But those two coaches have been feuding all week about their NIL budgets. I don't know how you even start to think about how that might work in. But I'm just curious if you think Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy's squad, can go up there and keep it close in Eugene.
Going through the roster of Oklahoma State, this is not a super talented team, and they're one that's heavily relied on the portal. And you look at the fact they brought in like 25 players post-spring. That tells me the coach is saying, hey, we don't have a really good team. We need to go out and find some guys. How do you become a team that quickly, with just trying to incorporate all these new players that they have this year? And then last week, they're playing UT Martin. And their quarterback, Haas Hedgney, who won the job over Zane Flores, looked great. They scored 2 touchdowns early in the first quarter. Then he breaks his foot, so he's out for 6 games. It's going to be Zane Flores here. You've got an Oregon team that coming into last year was 9-1 as a 20-plus favorite. They like to put the hammer down at home. And that Montana State team that they beat last week, you might say, hey, that's just an FCS school. Montana State was undefeated in the regular season last year. They have a Stanford quarterback in Justin Lamson. That's a really good Montana State team that they beat 59-13. I'm going to lay the lumber here, especially with the post-game comments maybe riling up Oregon a little bit.
Oregon laying 27 and a hook. There is an SEC game on the docket, Phil. It's Ole Miss at Kentucky. We all know the only league game Kentucky won a year ago was that upset in Oxford. The Rebs are an 8.5-point road favorite. Do they get their vengeance in Lexington?
Yeah, I think they do. And, when you look at Kentucky, Zach Calzada looked a little erratic last week, but Toledo's a really good team, so keep that in mind. And when you look at Ole Miss, I thought Austin Simmons had a really good game. Did throw 2 interceptions. I'd be a little concerned there, especially with this being his first road start. But on Phil Steele Plus, I've got a category on my schedule predictor, and it's called the revenge category. Mm-hmm. It's actually over the last 3 years now, Matt, 89-41. And it seems like these revenge games, and by the way, the only time it's a revenge game is if you were favored and you lost outright, then what you do the next year. None of that, you lose to a team 3 straight years. You're not playing with revenge unless you were favored and lost outright. But it's had a really good record at 89-41, and naturally Ole Miss is a revenge play, so I'm going to go with it here. The scary part is the last 4 or 5 times these teams have met, it's all been 3 points or less, the deciding factor. But Kentucky's actually 1-8 against the spread at home. Their last 9 against against the Power 4. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss minus the points.
Phil, one more here. We'll break, come back, and get to the evening games. How about the return of the border war? Kansas, Missouri. This one's going to be in Como. I don't know what we learned about Missouri last week, but Kansas was pretty impressive in their season opening win. Missouri's a 6.5-point home favorite. Feels like a lot. What say you?
Yeah, I like Kansas in this one, Matt. And when you look at the Jayhawks, the couple of things to like. First of all, the last 15 times in this rivalry, and I love rivalry dogs, and this is a legitimate rivalry. The dog is 10-5. There's been 8 outright upsets. In fact, when the line's close, I think in the last 10 times, like this, under a touchdown, they've pulled the upset 8 out of 10 times. So I love that. And then Kansas's defense playing really well. They held Fresno to 216 yards. Fresno put up over 500 yards against Georgia Southern last week. And then last week, they held Wagner to 143. So a really good defense. Missouri's got a good defense as well. Who's got the more veteran quarterback? Oh, Kansas. Jalen Daniels over Bo Prabula. And I just like the way Kansas is playing this year. So you got an underdog rivalry. You've got the fact that Kansas plays extremely well as a dog, 8-2 against the spread as a single-digit dog. I'm going to take Kansas plus the points in a possible upset.
He is Phil Steele. It's after further review, our Football Friday editions. We're at Don Juan Cigar Bar. Phil, sit tight. We'll come back. We'll get to the afternoon and evening games, including LSU and Louisiana Tech, as we continue with Phil Steele.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. Think real estate. Think Darren James. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. One more time. Agent225.com. That's the website, the most user-friendly website in real estate. And Darren just redesigned and relaunched Agent225.com. So If you haven't been there yet, rediscover it. If you're thinking about selling your home, start there at agent225.com. If you're shopping for a home, search by area, search by golf course properties, properties with a pool. You can narrow your search by any criteria, and boom, there's every home that lists your criteria, price range, all of it. And if you're wondering what your home right now is worth, there's an incredible home value tool, an appraisal tool right there on the website. You could know what your home would appraise at today in 30 seconds. Go to the homepage of agent225.com, click home value, type in your address, boom, it's right there for you. It's agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Always glad to have Phil Steele with us here on Football Friday, previewing the biggest games of the college football weekend. We'll wrap talking a little LSU, Louisiana Tech, giant number, but how competitive might it be? We'll ask Phil in just a smidge. Phil, next week, LSU is going to play Florida in Baton Rouge. Before that, though, Florida has an intrastate rivalry with South Florida. The Bulls coming up to Gainesville, a 17.5-point favorite for Billy Napier's squad. Maybe a little bit of a look-ahead spot for the Gators. What do you think?
I like Florida minus the points in this one, and for the couple of reasons. First of all, I was going over with Chris, my FCS guy, today, and he was telling me Long Island's not a bad football team. They actually played the big boys tough generally. They held Long Island to 2 first downs last week, so that's impressive, knowing that they're not just a chopped liver FCS team. They really dominated 55-0. And, the overreaction, I think, to the final score of USF last week against Boise was that USF dominated Boise. I mean, they won the game 34-7, right? Yep. But watching the first 2.5 quarters of that game, I thought Boise was the better team. The game really changed on a fake punt for a touchdown. After that, Boise got stopped on downs 3 times going for it. They fumbled the ball away 3 times going for it. When you have those kind of things going, it turned into a blowout. But I actually thought Boise might have been the better team on the field with more talent. So I think USF getting a little overvalued at this point. I'm going to go with the Gators, and we know there's a lot of heat on Billy Napier still. Hasn't been lifted yet. So I'm going to go with Florida minus the points in that one.
Next week will be massive with the Tigers and the Gators in Baton Rouge. Maybe one a little off the radar, Phil. I'm just curious where you land on Kansas State, a team that came into this season with a lot of expectation. It's been a disappointing start. They lost the opener at Iowa State, had a close call last week, and now here comes Army. And K-State's a 17.5-point favorite. That just feels like a lot for a K-State team that's struggling a little bit. Black Knights keep it within the number?
I think they do. And, last week they lost to Tarleton State. But once again, Tarleton State, I think, is one of the more underrated FCS teams. I believe in the FCS digital magazine that we have online, we had Tarleton State number 4, number 5, much higher than everybody else. And Army really could have won that game. They were up by a couple of scores in the third or fourth quarter and ended up losing. There was a couple of big plays here. They were -3 in turnovers. Naturally, they can shrink the clock with running the football. I like what I saw to Dwayne Coleman at quarterback. He's got a little more burst than did last year's QB Bryson Daly. And then when they need the power back, they got Cale Helms at quarterback who can give you the power on the offense. So it's a dangerous thing. And as I mentioned, teams coming back from Ireland usually struggle the second week back. How about having to prepare for the option your second week back? I think that's going to make it a lot more difficult. So, yeah, I definitely take the points with Army. Keep this one closer than expected.
Phil Steele is with us. One we don't often see in intersectional matchup here. Arizona State traveling to Starkville to take on Mississippi State. Jeff Lebby and the Bulldogs got a win last week in an in-state rivalry against Southern Miss. They're a 6.5-point home dog with the 12th-ranked Sun Devils coming to Starkville. State, maybe a live dog, if you'll forgive the pun, at home?
Yeah, I lean with Mississippi State here. But my concern would be the fact that last year, if you watch the game, Arizona State led 27-3 at the half, maybe backed off a little in the second half. In fact, in the game, it was 30-3 late in the third quarter. Mississippi State ended up down 30-16, got an 80-yard touchdown pass with 5 minutes to go. So it was really never a game where Arizona State was in question, even though they only won by 7. I thought they were the much better team. But now Mississippi State's at home. So that's a nice advantage. They are a much improved team. Arizona State does not have Scatterbo, at the running back spot. So I think they can keep it closer than expected, possibly even pull the upset. I like the underdog here.
Get to a couple of more, a few SEC plays. Vanderbilt in the season opener last year upset Virginia Tech in Nashville. Now the game goes to Blacksburg. Virginia Tech is a 2.5-point home favorite. Vandy, maybe make it 2 years in a row against the Hokies?
I think last year, if you look at Virginia Tech, they came into the season with all kinds of hype. They were one of the most experienced teams in college football. You're only playing Vanderbilt. You're on the road. You're a double-digit favorite. And they didn't play a very good first half. Then they came back in the second half, played a really good second half, but ended up losing the game in overtime. This year, I think they are under the radar. Virginia Tech, no one talking about them. And I thought they played a really good game against South Carolina. If not for the punt return touchdown and being -2 in turnovers, they actually had a 19-16 first down edge. It's at home, at night, enter Sandman. I love that. And Vanderbilt's a really good team. Talking to Coach Lee, they're a highly confident team coming into the season. But I'll take Virginia Tech at home. I think they're the better team at home, laying less than a field goal.
Biggest game of the weekend, Phil, is a battle of blue bloods. It's Michigan, hail to the victors, heading to Norman to take on Boomer Sooner. Find out a lot about these two teams after layups in week one. I'm not sure what to make of either of them. Phil, Oklahoma's a 5.5-point home favorite. What do you think?
Well, Oklahoma's my number one surprise team in the magazine. They've got the defense. Last year they held opponents to 87 yards per game below their season average. Number 6 in the country, 8 starters back. My number one rated defensive line, Brett Venables, calling the defense. Offensively, vastly improved. The offensive line last year had 0 returning starters. They were down their top 5 receivers due to injury. Now they have a vastly upgraded receiver group. They get the injured players back like Deion Burks. They've added in players, so they go from a weakness to a strength. The offensive line's veteran. They bring in John Mateer from Washington State, who last week, nearly threw for 400 yards in his debut game. And they also have Ben Arbuckle as the offensive coordinator. And I tell you, I'd say it all the time. First, if you're a freshman quarterback making your first road start, it's usually pretty tough. Or a young quarterback making your first road start. Let's talk to Arch Manning about that. So here you've got a freshman quarterback in Bryce Underwood, a very talented freshman quarterback, but first road start up against a Brett Venables defense on the road with Oklahoma. I'm going to take the Sooners to win this one by over a touchdown.
Phil Steele on Twitter at PhilSteele042. Of course, PhilSteele.com, STEELE, PhilSteele.com, and a link there to the Phil Steele Plus Tour. We'll tell you about that in just a sec, Phil. But I'd be remiss if I didn't at least get a thought on the hometown Tigers. Louisiana Tech's coming in. LSU is a gigantic 36.5-point favorite. What are you expecting from the Tigers and the Bulldogs Saturday in Tiger Stadium?
Well, first thing, Matt, the first thing I want to toss out is congratulations on that underplay you had last week.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. And, the thing that surprised me was the way Clemson's defense actually LSU's defense dominated Clemson's offensive line. I thought they did a tremendous job holding them to just 31 yards rushing in the game, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And that really upgraded LSU's defense in my rankings, maybe up to your level where you had them prior to the game. And, when you look at this, you talk about a massive sandwich game. I've never heard a coach talk so much about winning the opener as I heard Brian Kelly talk about it. Yeah. And you've got Florida on deck at home. And by the way, we're playing who this week? Louisiana Tech. Tech's actually a team I think is going to do better in CUSA than most folks expect. I had them picked, I believe, 3rd in CUSA this year. Now, they weren't that impressive last week, but they still beat Southeast Louisiana 24-0. I think they're capable of hanging underneath the number, especially catching LSU's C game. But I think LSU's focus might be a little more on Florida than it is on Louisiana Tech. But it would be also tough to take a team like Louisiana Tech, which only had 262 yards offense last week, to score points here against LSU. So if I had to pick this one due to the sandwich situation, I'd take Tech plus the points.
He is Phil Steele. Make sure you check out the Phil Steele Plus Tour on YouTube. Link there at philsteele.com. Phil, what do they get when they go take that Phil Steele Plus Tour?
Well, right now you get 5 selections and 6 quick hitters and even an NFL play. So 12 free plays. And I break it down, give you complete reasoning behind each of the selections. You just go to philsteele.com, click on the front menu there, and you'll see the Phil Steele Plus Tour. It's on YouTube, and it's about 34 minutes this week, but you get yourself a lot of free plays, complete with reasoning.
And the thing I tell people all the time is when you go to philsteele.com and you click the Phil Steele Plus Tour, subscribe to Phil's channel and set notifications, because when Phil puts out those plays, lines are going to move. So if you want to get in on them, set your notifications on YouTube there with the Phil Steele Plus Tour. Phil, it's always a pleasure. We'll look forward to doing it again next week.
Sounds great, Matt. Have yourself a good one, my friend.
You do the very same. Enjoy week 2 of college football. It's AFR. We'll continue from Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Remember, Gordon right now also, for a few more weeks till the 21st, you could still submit your billboard for the Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys Billboard Design Contest. Of course, you see Gordon on billboards all over town, all over the state, really. And you could see your design on one of those billboards. It's the Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys Billboard Design Competition. It's simple. Go to the website, getgordon.com/billboards, getgordon.com/billboards. You can see all the rules and regs right there. Submit your design. You could win up to $2,000 in prizes, a donation to a charity of your choice, and the opportunity to see your design on billboards all over town. What more could you possibly want? Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
For us, when we go out and, look at what we're trying to accomplish each week, it's much more about each guy doing their job and doing it in a manner that allows 11 guys to look really good together. And we had instances where we had 2 or 3 guys not doing their job, but 8 other guys were. We want all 11 guys doing their job. So this has been much more for us this week, kind of getting that entire group working together.
Brian Kelly meeting with reporters on Thursday in preparation for Saturday's game against Louisiana Tech. We're here at Don Juan Cigar Bar. Glad to have you aboard with us here. One other thing that I think is going to be fascinating to watch on Saturday is the possibility of history in Tiger Stadium. Of course, Zach Weeks, the third Weeks brother, is now on the roster. And Brian Kelly was asked point blank by Scott Rabelais of The Advocate, has he considered the possibility of seeing all 3 Weeks brothers on the field at the same time? Give a listen.
Oh, absolutely. When you have the third brother come in through the doors, your first thought is, okay, we got all 3 of them. Maybe there'll be an opportunity for all 3 of them to be on the field. I hope we get that opportunity, and if we do, we'll take advantage of it, because I think it's first of all, it'll be deserving because they're all really good players. But we'll have to wait and see how that happens. But in answering your question, yeah, I've thought about it, and that'd be a first for me. Not that I'm looking for firsts in that sense, but that'd be pretty neat.
Remember, Brandon, Curtis, and Jiron Taylor, 3 brothers, the Taylor brothers, were all on the team at the same time, but they were not on the field at the same time. Zach Weeks is likely going to redshirt. Remember, he was not only an early enrollee, but he was also a reclass. So he should be in his senior year of high school, but he reclassified to be able to join his older brothers. They could all be on the team at the same time. But he's going to redshirt this year. And so, but you can play 4 games and still maintain your redshirt. So it's going to be interesting to see what opportunities are there for Zach. And you would realistically think this game, a couple weeks against Southeastern Louisiana, maybe in November against Western Kentucky if they haven't gotten there yet. So he'll be able to get out on the field at some point, maintain the redshirt year, but it's going to have to be at a point in the game where you're up comfortably and can play Zach, and you're not up so far that you don't want to risk having Witt and West on the field as well. But if you haven't studied the roster, Zach Weeks is wearing 35. We know Witt is 40 and West is 33. So if you're watching the game on Saturday, if at some point you see 40, 33, and 35 all on the field at the same time, you're watching a first in LSU history, as 3 brothers will be playing on the field all at once. It'd be incredible if it does play out that way. So something to keep an eye on when the Tigers and the Bulldogs play Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. Always love telling you about Evamore, EVAMOR, Evamore.com. Got the Evamore with me here. Gave blood earlier today. They always tell you, make sure you hydrate. I'm like, I do hydrate. I hydrate all the time. I drink 2 64-ounce bottles of Evamore every day. But got mine with me. It's a better form of hydration. It's natural artesian water, and it's a Louisiana product. I try to purge tap water out of my diet completely. There's fluoride in tap water, which is great for your teeth, but it's also a known neurotoxin. So the microdose toxicity is a very bad thing for you over time. So I put Evermore in my Keurig. I try to drink Evermore exclusively. So you can find it at great local retailers or online at evermore.com. EVAMOR, evermore.com, evermore.com. All right, we are heading into the first home weekend. It's time for our tailgate segment. Hit it, Muse.
At LSU, we play hard, but we tailgate harder. Light your burner, fire up the grill. It's time for our Football Friday tailgate recipe of the week with Chris's Specialty Foods. 4 locations, or go to chrisspecialtyfoods.com.
Pinch hitting this week for the soon-to-be-wed Coben Linedecker, Chef Kerry Whitaker from Chris's Specialty Foods. Chef, how are you?
I'm great.
We're glad to have you. Thanks for making the trip away. Do you ever get out of the kitchen?
A little bit, not much.
Yeah, well, we're glad that you found a way to make it over here. All right, so normally we like to do an Eat the Competition.
Of course.
LSU's playing the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. We typically don't eat dog meat.
We brought a dog platter.
I love it. All right, so walk us through what we got.
So, we have our smoked sausage dog. We have our Wagyu dog. I have a brisket dog, and I have a cheddar jalapeno dog, and I just threw in some crawfish queso and some pork skins.
The crawfish queso and pork skins is just so we all watch our waistlines, right? That's why it's in there for.
That's it.
All right, so I didn't realize we had multiple dogs here. So walk me through what each one is.
Yeah, so this is our Chris makes this in-house. This is our smoked sausage dog. I put a little barbecue sauce on it.
So it's Chris's smoked sausage.
Yep.
What, that's not a hot dog bun. What do we have there?
It's a challah bread. It's a heavy egg bread. This is toasted on both sides with butter. We use this for our lobster roll as well. You've had that before.
Had the lobster roll last week. Came in for lunch.
So, and this is our Wagyu dog.
What is the Wagyu
Real
dog?
Product. It's a dog that's made with Wagyu beef. It's top quality. So I'm not a hot dog guy, and I'll eat this.
It's Wagyu.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's amazing.
Do those come individually, or y'all sell them by the pack?
We sell them by the pack. They're 4 in a pack.
Okay.
And they're in all of our stores.
My brother-in-law is the kind of guy that'll roll into a gas station and get like 6 chili dogs, and that's like his favorite thing in the world to eat. And I'm like, I'm like you. I'm not a hot dog guy. I'll eat that.
They're delicious.
I'll eat a Wagyu hot dog,
really
no
good.
doubt. What's the third one over there?
The third one, this is our brisket dog. It's made with brisket.
How do you get the casing? I mean, it looks like sausage.
Yeah, it's a brisket sausage. You can do it. You can just eat it as a sausage, or you can put it on a bread. I added some sautéed peppers on top of it just to make it that much more special.
I love it. And fourth, what we got over there?
The last was a cheddar jalapeno dog.
Okay.
Added some sautéed onions on top as well. It's good too.
So all of these are available at any of the Chris's locations?
Yes.
And so you get them, they're all 4 to a pack?
4 to 6 a pack.
Okay. And so when we're preparing these, it's pretty standard. Right?
Yeah.
Just what you throw in the grill. How would you prepare them?
Pop them on the grill, flat top, Blackstone. You can even put them in the microwave.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think is maybe of all? I guess it's all easy, right? I mean, this is good, easy tailgate food to bring out. I mean, fire up a grill in 10, 15 minutes, whatever it would take to heat it.
Yeah.
So what would you say is maybe the easiest, considering toppings and all the stuff that people may want to do?
Man, these peppers and onions are you throw them on the Blackstone as well.
Okay.
Just cook them 10, 15 seconds, 50, whatever, however, a little bit of butter, you're good to go.
Yeah. Is it an easy thing to do if people wanted to make their own like brisket dog, or like how do you
No, come get them from us.
No, of course, but we want to tell people, also want to give them cooking advice. So like, how do you do that?
Yeah, the brisket dog is we grind up the brisket, stuff it in the casing, smoke it, ready to go.
How long do you smoke it?
2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty standard thing there. You'll do it every day, every week?
Once a week. We can make a big batch.
Awesome.
Send it out to all the stores, ready to go.
Of course, there's 4 Chris's locations. Of course, there's in Baton Rouge. There's Highland, which is the one that I see you at often.
Yep.
Millerville. There's New Orleans and Lakeview. The Lakeview location.
store.
And which one am I missing?
Central.
Central. So the location Central as well. So the 4 locations, and also chrisspecialtyfoods.com is the website if you want more info. chrisspecialtyfoods.com. So like back-to-back S's. chrisspecialtyfoods.com. And we're talking with Coben last week. is it a little early to start taking orders for Thanksgiving? You guys can take care of the entire Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, we can take care of your whole meal plan for you. It's not too early. Give us a call. We'll document it, have it ready for you whenever you want to pick it up.
And then we were also talking because deer season's right around the corner, and you guys can take care of the whole processing?
Processing, we do burgers, we do sausage, we do anything you want.
So people bring the deer, and then y'all take care of the rest?
That's it.
Cool. At all of the locations? Or is one of them the primary location where you do process?
You can drop it off in any location. They're processed at Millaville.
Okay.
And you can pick it back up at the location you dropped it off on.
Perfect.
So it's very convenient.
Chris's Specialty Foods, of course, you can go have lunch at the Highland location, like Brian Terrio, who will be in here in a minute. I think our entire Paris Construction Roofing monthly budget goes into having lunch at Chris's because he's there every day. But it's worth it. It's fantastic. He drags me along with him sometimes whenever I let him pick up the bill. All right, Chef Carey, are you a football fan?
I am, yeah.
All right, who's your team? Where are you from?
I'm from Baton Rouge.
From Baton Rouge, so you're a Tiger fan?
I am.
Okay, got the hat. I love to see it.
Yep.
You got a strong feeling one way or another on Saturday's game?
We had a great last week was wonderful. They looked strong.
Heck of a debut. What do you think about LSU Saturday against Louisiana Tech?
Death Valley's going to be crazy.
I know, man. Home opener.
Yes.
Tigers number 3 in the country. Should be a good win. We'll get some picks a bit later in the show. Chef Carey Whitaker from Chris's Specialty Foods. We appreciate you for coming in, Chef.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep.
And you're leaving the tray of food, right?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Well, Terry will be here in a minute. He's going to eat all that. All right. It is after further review. We're here at Don Juan Cigar Bar. By the way, at Don Juan Cigar Company right next door, the retail shop. Awesome place. Come get your cigars for game day as well. They got everything you need. Lighters, cutters, ashtrays. Great selection. They got some great promos going on as well. So get on by here at Don Juan Cigar Bar. Enjoy a cigar. Got TVs everywhere, craft cocktails, and of course Don Juan Cigar Company next door. So make sure you come hang out. Terrio's here. We're going to get you caught up on national headlines with Sports Center when we come back. The Riot Radio Hour. Stay here.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, with locations all over South Louisiana, ShawBillsTire.com. With 18 locations in South Louisiana, you're never far from a Shawbills location. You can shop tires online at ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, or just pop on in. Now, they are closed on the weekend, but if maybe you're making that road trip this football season and you're going to need tires on that vehicle, you want the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible, go to Shawbills. You can shop tires online by the make, body style, size, whatever of your vehicle, whatever size tires you're looking for, brand, price. It's all there. Narrow down the search. And there's even a really easy-to-use chat bubble on the homepage of the website where you tap that little chat bubble, and in seconds, you're chatting with an associate over at Shawbills. They can schedule your service or help you find tires. Super easy. And most importantly, they always treat you like family at Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.